What a beautiful day we have. We're at Bad Rings, and this brings us nicely to review the Engwe Engine X. This is a first for Engwe. It's their road legal version, which means that it goes maximum speed of 15.5 miles an hour, and it's completely compliant with EAPC regulations. Simple terms, that means you can ride this bike legally on UK roads and not have to worry about it being taken off you and points on your license. But let's see whether this bike truly lives up to its name. So I'm going to be speaking about the front of the bike to begin with. As my viewers know, one of my favourite parts on a bike is the bell. Really, really nice loud bell. And then I'm going to be speaking about the display. So to turn the display on, you're just going to press and hold the power button. And then once it comes on, you're just going to wait for everything to come down. So starting from the top of the display, we've got a battery bar. Each bar represents 20%. So a full charge is 100%, which we got now. Only thing that I'd like to see Engwe do in the next model is, if they're shipping the bikes to the UK, is that have it in miles an hour rather than kilometers an hour. As you can see, I've done 2.5 kilometers on this bike. So just riding up to do the review in Bad Rings, and I'll speak a bit more about my journey and how I found the bike later on in the video. So I'm now going to be speaking about the mudguards on the bike. So we got front and rear mudguards. Now ordinarily you might just think they're plastic, but they've really taken time to think about their build quality, and they are metal. Really, really good what Engwe have done, and it's just as finer things on the bike that make it stand out from the crowd. I'm now going to be speaking about how you can fold the bike in half of its original size. So we're going to be starting from the top of the handlebars, where we're just going to be pulling this out here, and then the handlebars come down. So the handlebars are going to come down like this. This isn't going to give you a lot of room to work. So I'm just going to recommend that you just twist the wheel away from you. One of the mistakes I made when I originally came to fold this bike is that I just pulled this out, and I pulled it out but didn't pull it and come out all the way. So just make sure you do that. You want to expose it like this. And then the main frame you're going to pull towards yourself. So it's up to you how you want to do it. You can lift the bike up, or you can just pull the frame towards you. So I'm going to pull the frame towards me, and then once that's towards, as you can see, that's a really compact design on the folding. You can bring this upstairs, wherever. Really nice, portable. The portable aspect of the bike is fantastic. So just to reverse the order of what you're going to be doing. So it's just in the reverse, where you need to keep this away because this is going to wanting to come back. Okay, so once this has come back, that's going to clip in. Just make sure that this is fully clipped in, as you don't want the frame coming away when you're riding. And then we're going to come onto the handlebars. So it's just simply in reverse. One thing I would say is make sure that you apply grease WD-40 just to keep it lubricated, so it's easy to control. And then just going to clip this back in place here. And as you can see, the bike's pretty stable. And it's just really gone to half of its size. I mean, it's a beast of a bike, really, really big. What I'm going to be talking about now is the front headlight on the bike. So if we come to the front of the bike, this is probably something that I'm going to demonstrate on how to do. We won't be able to see it because it is quite light outside at the moment with the nice sunny weather. Don't get many days like this in the UK. So you want to be turning on the front headlight. So to turn on the front headlight, you're just simply going to press here, but you can't really see it at the moment. One thing I think with the front headlight, and I'm always honest to my viewers and transparent, and you know that by watching my reviews, is that I think a bike to this quality and standard, they could have thought about a more robust headlight. You might have seen on some of my other reviews, like the A8, just as a comparator. So something a bit more compact, a bit more bright, that just goes with the bike. So that's my only criticism at the moment with the bike. We've also got brakes both front and rear. Now they're not hydraulic. So again, this is something that Engwe could have considered by having hydraulic brakes, but it's just hydraulic will just enable you to come to a more responsive stop. So they're not as responsive for the power and potentially off-road riding that you're going to be doing. So the next thing I'm going to be speaking about is the tyres. So we do have some fat tyres both front and to the rear of the bike. With the fat tyres, I will mention, as you can see, they're not your traditional spokes that you do have on regular e-bikes, and they're not aerodynamic, so you won't get the same economical riding out of them. But on the other flip side, it gives a really nice design and feel to the bike, and it just gives you better traction on the road having the fat tyres on e-bikes. So especially if you're off-roading, ideal what Engwe have done here. And really comfortable seat. So I'm going to go from the seat and talk about the rear rack and to the back, which there's a brake light as well, but I'll speak about the seat first. So the seat's really comfortable. It doesn't fold in half. Now, perhaps this is something that Engwe could consider, because the rest of the bike folds, but maybe if they have a clip here and you could fold it in half, as you've seen on some of the other e-bikes, might be ideal. But overall, it's really comfortable saddle to sit on. I've had no issues or complaints with that. Rear rack's really good. You probably hold about 20 to 25 kilos on the rear rack. And then coming from here to the rear rack, you've got a brake light. So just tap the brakes, and as you can see, the brake light flashes. Most bikes just have one static red light. So having a brake light just really helps the safety element. So they've thought about the safety on the bike. We do have pedals. Now, there's nothing special about pedals. I'm not going to waffle on about it, but I like to say that they are foldable as well. So they do fold down as well. So that is something, if you are transporting it into a car, that you could add on to the folding stage of the bike. But yeah, they got reflectors on them, nothing special to mention. And overall on the Engwe Engine X, you can expect between 100 to 120 kilometers of range on one full charge. So it depends on a number of factors, you know, the weight of the rider, weather conditions, and whether you're going uphill as well. So if you're going uphill, you're going to get less of a range. So if I'm traveling, bringing this bike, riding up here, that's not going to be an ideal situation. So realistically, you can anticipate between 60 to 80 kilometers on one charge. So I want to talk about the suspension on the bike. It's really, really bouncy. So if you are going up the hills, I've only ridden a couple of miles on this bike, coming riding to do the review today. But as you see behind us, we've actually had some really challenging terrain to ride on, and it's just handling it with ease. So we do also have the Shimano 7-speed Sys Index gear set, which is the last thing I want to talk about on the bike. And I really like the balance between choosing the power you want and also the manual power you want. So you can, if you want to pedal faster than the 15.5 miles an hour or 25 kilometers that it will read on the display, you can just simply go up the gears and choose to put in more pedaling effort, and that might give you a longer range. So that's something to consider as well. One last thing I'd like to speak about is the throttle. So you might think that having a throttle on the e-bike is illegal to do. It's not, as long as it assists you up to 4 miles an hour, and that's just so it can get you going, so then you can start pedaling and let the pedal assist system take over. And those are EAPC regulations that make this bike road legal to use in the UK. So this is an ideal bike, and we have done really well considering the UK market and my customers, which are UK customers. So you're going to ask what my overall opinion on this bike is. I think it's good. There are some areas of improvement that Engwe could be working on, such as I mentioned about the front headlight, the brakes, but overall there's not a lot to criticize on the bike. I like the design. It just looks mean, with the fat tires, the spokes, and I think they've taken a lot of thought into creating this bike. So really nice what they've done. I'm going to leave a link to the product in the description down below. If you've got any questions on anything I mentioned, please leave a comment, subscribe, like, and I'll see you in my next YouTube video.